Welcome to the Diamond Spotlight interview. Hi, my name is Barbara Beckley. I am the founder of the Diamond Factor LLC, where the mission is to empower women to understand their PPD, their purpose, passion, and drive. And this platform is to make sure to increase their visibility and they shine like a diamond to the world. Today, we have another spotlight interview. And as I say, I always call the ladies that I bring on as Queen Diamonds. So this lady, Natsune Oki, is a self-mastery enthusiastic and renowned deep thinker. I'm loving this already. She is the author of the Game of Self-Domination and the host of LifeUpEducationTV, having built her life up from nothing multiple times, including being most a kicked out high school student in Japan. Natsune has not only gone on to finish her university education in business and economics in the United States as a foreign science student, but she works with hundreds of innovators, entrepreneurs, and next generation thinkers in Seattle. Despite her young age, she helped dozens of CEOs and young startup founders skyrocket their success, all while building her own online business on the side. Passionate about creating lifelong success, inspiring others to reach their full potentials, her goal is to help people reach their dreams and master their resilience in life. Just reading your bio, lady, is just amazing.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you very much, Barbara. Thank you for inviting me to your show. I was very excited for tonight.
This is an honor. And you're coming all the way from Japan, right?
Yeah, I'm currently in Tokyo.
I love it. When I always say that, I said, global, here I come. Yes.
Yes.
Getting the Queen Diamonds in Japan. There we go. Wonderful.
Where in the States are you right now?
I'm in, it was a little place called Kenosha, Wisconsin, where a lot of people probably don't even know what it's at. But yeah, I'm in kind of off the border from Illinois. So I'm like 5 minutes away. Yeah, I guess it's like a border. I hit there, I'm in Illinois. Yeah.
I see. Well, that's amazing, like how we can connect from one part of the world to another. Like
I'm loving it. It. You know, I know this whole COVID thing is sad, and you know, we're going through and we're dealing with it. All of us, we're all on pause, pause, I call it pause by rethinking, getting things back on track with yourself. But it's nice to really connect with so many people now that you probably wouldn't have been able to if, you know, this kind of didn't happen.
Right.
So,
true.
So we meeting. So let's just dive into it, because I want people to get to know you. I mean, with the bio I just read, we have a lot of unpacking to do so people get to know who you really are. So, you know, you have, like I said, you have amazing titles and what you do for others to help encourage and build their dreams, which I'm loving. Now, you stated you are a self-mastery, enthusiasm, and renowned deep thinker. Tell us what inspired you to go to that point.
Yeah, so the reason I'm putting that as part of my bio is because without my new book, I can't explain what it is. My book is actually called The Game of Self-Domination. I purposely named my book as the self-domination, right? And, you know, just like how we were talking about this internet changing our climate of like how we interact with each other, regardless of the struggle we're going through with Corona, right? Like, it's all about how we perceive our challenges. It's all about like managing your mind, right? So like things will happen, things that's not controllable will happen. But eventually, if we are able to shape our mindset, shape our narrative around those hard times and then failures even, we can really work around that and make them as our advantage. And for us to do that, one of the things we really need to do is to get to know who we really are and who we really want to be. And that is why I find, so, you know, the piece of like self-discovery is such a key element of you becoming successful.
Awesome. And I mean, just like you said, for a young age, I mean, you help CEOs and just making other people understand, and you're working on you have your own business. I mean, you have your own, you're a TV host. I mean, I read it. I've been reading it. I'm watching you.
Thank you. So
such an
just
inspiration.
to kind of give you my the context of who I am a little bit more. As I was introduced, I'm a host of LifeUpEducationTV, where I talk about the possibility of humanity is a big theme I live by. I get like such a goosebump whenever I see impossible being possible by the power of humanity, right? Like it's such a great feeling. So I want to talk about that from the perspective of art and science, because there's a difference between art and science. Science applies to everybody. Like it covers topics about, you know, physiology, like numbers, but really the mother of that language is still art, right? Like we're such an emotion driven animals that really, if you get down to it, everything kind of starts with like subjective topic, which is art. So I want to talk about both perspectives. And then within the same domain, once again, I have the book, The Game of Self-Domination. I also have a business in Tokyo. It's called Foreign Connect, which I didn't mention there. But basically what I do with Foreign Connect is I connect Japanese businesses to enter foreign market by connecting them with local businesses abroad.
Do you ever get any sleep?
You just,
at least get a little, at least a little. Wow.
Yeah, but it's really fun. I think it comes back to the point of like really the importance of the self-awareness, having the self-awareness. It really, I'm in for the game, you know, I'm not in for the outcome. And it really helps me because when I have this mindset of, I really enjoy the journey part of it, I'm not necessarily expecting the return from it. I just genuinely, this part of the journey really becomes my life, right? Like instead of things that I have to do, I look at it as my full package of life, right? Like, so that thinking really helps me to work really hard and work for long hours. And because I'm just seeing it as part of my identity rather than like I'm trying to get to some sort of direction, if that makes sense.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, you're driven. I can tell the drive in you, you know, just oversees everything else. And that's what just makes you keep going and keep wanting to help and do, because you know, it was in you. It's just something that's like a mission for you, it sounds like. And, you know, it's all of a sudden sleep doesn't even you don't even think about sleep anymore because you're so busy, you know, in that zone. So I totally get it. But I want you to take care of yourself because you have so many more people that you have to help. So, so just get ready on that. So now you mentioned in your one of your YouTube videos I was listening to the other day, and what a powerful statement you said. I had to write it down and I said, I have to ask her about this. You said, and I hope I'm saying this right because I kept listening to the YouTube to make sure I had it right. So you said the question is not if you cannot manage the situation. The question is, can you manage your mindset? Please give us the backstory of that. That is like powerful.
Right. So, you know, this is one of the things I talk about a lot in my book. Once again, this is essentially why I named my book The Game of Self-Domination. And, you know, one of the early chapter I talk about how the visualization actually works. And I tell you what I mean. The visualization works because if you talk about the study of quantum physics, we're not the separate entity. Like the world is a one big unit. And then the world is kind of like if you think about it this way, it's kind of helpful. We're like a liquid form where one thing will affect another thing because we are a small particle moving really fast. So if we are able to look at, I guess what I'm trying to say is nothing is solid. And when we know that, we are kind of affected by each other. And then that being said, okay, my point is that nothing is ever personal. Like if good thing happened to you, it's not about, it's never about you. If bad thing happened to you, it's never about you. But because we are this, we feel like we're this separated entity who's living in this individual body, whose experience is only limited by the angle of this one person, we tend to interpretate whatever the emotion caused by this body, or the past experience, whatever, we tend to see them as a reality, right? But in reality, that's just a perception of reality. It's not the reality per se. But I think we tend to forget that. And when we are in that state where, you know, we like to attach the meaning to events, where we say, this is my success, this is my failure, and whatever the events, our brain predicts if this event is success or failure, right? But in reality, once again, this is just a perception of how we are thinking about this event, and it's not actual reality we're following the interpretation for, right? So that being said, it's really never about you. If good thing happen, bad thing happen, it's your thinker who's wanting to attach meaning to the event. And when you're able to realize that fact, it becomes very obvious that whatever happened to you, it's never personal. It doesn't define who you are. It doesn't define your capability. Like, you're just attaching your emotional meaning to it, right? So that is why I said, knowing that you are the one who's doing either the positive talk or negative talk really helps you to understand what the practical voice is. And that's about managing mind, because the most valuable skill you can have as a leader or entrepreneur or someone who's a creator in life is this ability to be uncomfortable but be super practical, where she's not necessarily listening to her either positive voice or the negative voice, but she understands what is actually happening and what needs to be done. So that's what I mean.
Love that, because like you said, you don't look at the whole, like you said, you cannot manage the situation, because things are going to happen in life, like you said, good, bad, and ugly. This is what I always put out there. But it takes you to think, okay, how am I going to basically manage my mindset with this? And I think that's where we have to make the decisions of, I'm going to go this route, I'm not going to go that route. You know, you have to make the decision. Whatever
Exactly.
you make the decision of how you're going to basically interpret this and move forward. So I see already within you, that's what you do, because you're a deep thinker, that I think anything that comes your way, you're kind of like, okay, I'm going to go this direction, because I'm not going to let that dictate to me what I do.
So, you know, this is also our advantage as human, being a human as animal, and also disadvantage as being a human animal, right? Like, we're capable of being creative, but when you're not able to define the direction of the creativity, our like a really old brain who had to survive us as a species would naturally have these signals to, I guess, alert us from any possible danger that's gonna make us extinct, right? So if you are subconsciously, our brains are very conservative. Subconsciously, our brains are very cynical, very you know what I mean? Yeah. So we have to be the one, our conscious self have to be the one who understands that we are creative animals, and we need to be on control of deciding the direction of that creativity to be expressed.
Yes, definitely. And it is a saying that I even say, where when I talk to people and they're talking about their stories of their life and what they went through, and because we all have our stories, and I always say that's stepping stones of strength. I said, whatever you deal with in life, that strengthens you to move forward and to move, where you're trying, the direction you're trying to go. So we don't want to stay in that. You know how they say, don't be the victim, be victorious. You don't want to, you're not that person of that situation. It just happens because it's part of just the growth or what's happening. But you have to take it further, like you said, to say, okay, this is what, my mindset is here. I'm going this direction. Can't stop me.
Yeah.
Cannot stop me. So now I wanted to ask, because I know you've been mentioning the book, which is awesome. I've seen that online too, a book of the Games of Self-Domination. And I know that launches this month, right?
Yeah. It's coming up on 27th.
Yeah, 27. Yeah. August 27th, everybody. Just yelling it
Yay.
out there. So
It's been
yeah, we gotta get people to get the book because it's I know it's awesome. A lot of good things that you have in there. So I wanted just to ask you, what is like the main takeaway that you want people to walk away from that book that's coming out?
I mean, I included so many message I want to deliver. I guess I would give you kind of overview of what I talk about in the book, and also one takeaway, which is related to the title of the book. The overview of the book is basically I wanted to create a tool that I can also use in the future, and then basically make that as my also own reminder for moving forward in my life. Because once again, like I'm a very courageous person, and I'm very I guess looking back my life, I never chose a path according to other people's life, according to other people's rule. So if the rule didn't apply to me, I'm the kind of person who would pursue what's true to me. And then other people's opinion or other people's priority always came next to me, right? Next to my priority. And being in that position really made me vulnerable to rejections and risks. So that's why I had to develop this mental tool that's gonna guide me even like farther journey of my life. And I wanted to just make it available for everyone. So basically, that being said, I'm a change seeker. I like changes. I like that, like a very adventurous life. So one of the tools I really needed was to navigate through the changes, because changes are happening every day, all the time, to everybody, right? And I call it as mental transformation because mental transformation, in the case of mental transformation, the change is intentionally decided from someone. So I talk about how to create mental transformation in 3 different phases, but really this tool can be used for how to navigate through any change in life. But I would, just for the sake of it, I'm just gonna talk about the perspective of mental transformation. So in the 3 phase, the first phase I talk about the importance of, well, I wouldn't say importance, sorry. I talk about how can we create momentum in life? How can we create the decisiveness in life? And for you to create the decisiveness and momentum, commitment in life, you need 2 things. One is inspiration to believe that whatever you're dreaming of right now is possible to achieve. You really need to believe that from your brain, from your body, from your soul, everything. And then second thing you need is desperation. So a lot of time people talk either, one of the 2 topics, but then they never really combine the 2. But in reality, you kind of need both, because so desperation, I tell you what I mean, is that you kind of need to be disgusted about your feeling. You kind of needed to like tell yourself, like, what are you doing? Like I'm so much more capable, but then I just hate, I'm so disgusted about how I'm living right now. I really need to change. So that's the kind of extreme state you need to be in. And then at the same time, once again, you need to have that inspiration that tells you whatever you're dreaming of is possible right now to achieve. So those are the things that's gonna build you the momentum and decisiveness, the commitment that you needed to create the mental transformation. But that's not gonna last forever. You need actual resilient part. So that's what I'm gonna talk about to transitioning to the second phase, where all I talk about is the importance of self-awareness, the importance of, once again, I'm gonna give you some scientific proof of why visualization actually works. I also talk about what are we really living for, because once again, I guess one of the reasons that stops a lot of people, make them disappointed to the point where they just don't have the energy to keep going, is because their default of what they're living for is wrong. They are trying to get to a destination. But when you think about success can never be achieved. Success is always in the future. You don't look back at some point that you already achieved in the past, then you say, I'm so excited by whatever I've already achieved, right? Like you're not inspired by that anymore. You're always inspired by what's coming next in the future. So that's the whole narrative you really need to change. So I slowly make this transition of like, what does it mean to live inspired life? And also talks about like how, how that definition really comes in, comparing to like a happiness and like what's the life balance to have them. So that's like an overview of the whole book. And then, can you hear me?
Yeah, I was just saying, wow.
Okay. Perfect. And then I guess one very main point I would say is that throughout the book, I think the biggest message I push the most is, once again, the game of self-domination. Like whatever the adversity, hardships, rejections, whatever you encounter, at the end of the day, there's this event, and then the very last person who's going to interpret whatever they've been is really you, right? Your mind. So you need to, like, the mind is the biggest asset you can have. So you need to do everything and anything. You need to be willing to do everything and anything to really have that mindset right. And then do everything to make you keep going. So for me, I have some ways of thinking that I use, that I employ whenever I meet hardships. And then it's just like a simple shifts in the narratives around failure, simple shifts around narrative around why we live, why we are here. Even about rejections, like, so many things that's gonna come against us. I tell you like how I kind of think of them, and then how I kind of overcome all these hardships to just keep the resilience up.
Ooh, August 27th?
Yeah. So
okay.
This month, 27th.
Telling all the audience out there, the listeners, you need to get this book from this Queen Diamond. I mean, so many good tips. And, I just love, you just have this zeal that I just love. I mean, you just give so much positive and so much information that, we need right now. And, you're a leader, and I just want to encourage you just to, which I don't have to, because you encourage yourself enough, because you've done everything. I mean, you're like, you have an empire, lady. You have an empire. But I just want you to encourage you to keep doing that. You keep doing that, because you're helping. I just want you to know you're helping so many people out there. So I mean, just remember that. Everything you do, everything you put out there, the books, the TV show, all you're doing, you're helping so many people. So continue to be that leader. Continue to be that leader.
That's very kind of.
I just want to say, is there any last words? I hate to say it because that means we're leaving. Is there any last words that you want to give the audience, and then tell them how they can contact you?
Yeah, last word. I mean, probably the biggest one I can tell right now is that don't be positive or negative, but be practical. I think that's what's missing. I think a lot of us get stuck in the feeling of, I mean, being positive by all means is a good thing, but at the same time, like, being positive is not the driver that's going to make us put into the work. I think, and then also in the other side of it, negative is definitely, once again, the emotion that is just temporarily here, right? So I've been to many times lately also where, I just felt like, I was just drowning in this like oceans of emotion. Either it's positive or negative, and especially negative time. I really stepped back and asked myself, what's important to me right now? Like, what is it that's really important to me right now? Instead of just feeding up this emotion. And then at that times, my voice, who actually knows what needs to be done at the time to navigate through that, waves of emotion and get to the actual solution that's going to actually produce results. was that practical voice that talks to me, right? So I think a lot of people get stuck because they're kind of letting their emotions to drive their days and drive their actions. But what you need is practical voice. So I think that's one of my last message I want to say. And people can find me under my Life Up Education TV. I have a website with lifeupeducationtv.com. I have TikTok. I have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. Everything is under Life Up Education TV.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you. Like I said, you're another Queen Diamond to me, to you. And thank you for coming on to the show and just, you know, like I said, giving us just a glimpse. This is just a little glimpse of who this lady is, and reach out to her. She gave you her information. You know, this is the biggest thing about the Diamond Spotlight interview, is to position and give visibility to these ladies that are doing so much that sometimes people don't even recognize. And I want people to recognize that, because it's so important, because you see how many people she's helping out. You just see in her heart. So I say to get that book, August 27th. She gave you all the information. Thank you, lady, for allowing me to spotlight you today, you and your business and everything that you do. And I wish you continued success in your life and in your business.
Thank you very much.
No problem. So those who are listening, thank you for joining another special edition of the Spotlight Factor Spotlight interview. I get so excited because these ladies are just so wonderful. You can join the Facebook community under the Diamond Factor LLC, Development Within You. And you can, if you want to be spotlighted under the Diamond Spotlight interview, you can contact me through Messenger or Facebook, and we can get you booked up. And remember, as I always say, remember you have a diamond factor in you. You have a special gift, talent. As we, you know, just Queen's Day, she's talking about all her talents and what she does. You have a special gift yourself. It's your passion, purpose, and your drive that drives you to that. So it's so important, not just for you to understand that and love you and who you are, but for others to know that too, because they get that hope from you and they know that they can step up as how you're stepping up in your life. So see you at the next Diamond Spotlight interview. Thank you again, lady.